Hey everybody, welcome to Fifth Quarter Tailgate. I'm Scott. Different night, same fun. Going in for Big Vic today. He's watching the fights, so uh, told him I'd step in and we'd have a little fun. How's everybody doing today? We got looks like Five Fingers coming in hot early. High five. Um, anybody? Cheers, Peter White. Cheers, cheers. Anybody watch the Kentucky Derby? Uh, I did earlier. Trying to. What was the name of that? The Kentucky Derby winner. He was. Is it Madge? Madge? No. Yeah, Madge. Congratulations to Madge for winning the Kentucky Derby. It was kind of a long shot win, but pretty awesome to. That's awesome when the long shot wins. Zembood's in the house. Hi, Zembood. Uh, what's everybody drinking tonight? Um, I'll get into what I'm drinking here in a little bit, but I I do not like a mint julep. I think they're gross, but I've got a cocktail that is Kentucky Derby inspired, but tastes a lot better. I think anyway. Stenbood drove to Irene's today. Came back with a rye haul. Well, that's awesome. Good to hear. Um, how's Irene doing? One of these days, I gotta make it up to her. I've been lucky enough to have um, some of her picks from people have sent me samples. So, and she does some really great samples. So, if anybody is uh, near, I think it's Canterbury Liquors, definitely check out Irene's shop. That's up in the Connecticut region, I believe. Peter Wright's drinking a Four Roses single barrel, the 100 proof. Nothing wrong with that. Um, so right now I'm drinking the cocktail that I'm drinking is called the Bourbon Spire, and it's kind of a homage to the Churchill Downs and the spires that you see at the Churchill Downs, um, which is where the Kentucky Derby is held. Um, and the recipe for that is actually quite simple. It's 2 parts lemonade, 1 part uh, cranberry juice, and 2 parts bourbon. So it's not as sweet as you would think with all that lemonade and juice, but I like it. I used it called for Woodford because I think it's a Woodford, like they created it, called the Woodford Spire, but I call it the Bourbon Spire. Um, and but I used Cooper's Craft 100 because I wanted to bump up the proof a little bit than regular old makers or Woodford. Eric Isaacson in the house. How you doing, Eric? Good to see you. What are you drinking on, Eric? You know, it's this one's a little sweeter than the last one I made, but I don't know. It's not too bad. Peter White says I drink cocktails too quick, so I pretty much gave them up. Yeah, I do tend to go if I'm drinking a cocktail, I'll go for like an old fashioned or Boulevardier or um, you know, something a little bit more bourbon heavy. Um, Eric's drinking Penelope Barrel Proof. Uh, I can't go wrong with that, Eric. But yeah, I like a more bourbon forward, more alcohol forward cocktail. Um, I tend to be able to sip those more than this. This I'm gonna crush tonight, but I'm only gonna have one, and then we'll get into the real stuff, the real bourbon. Let's see, Zembud. I had a Hanging AZ midnight special, ginger beer, half squeezed lime, um, splash of simple syrup. I used Kings County peated rye. Plays with the ginger bite nicely. That that sounds like a pretty good cocktail. Did is that what did Hanging AZ come up with that, or did you just name the cocktail after him? Um, anyway, anything else? Let's see what else happened today. It was kind of it was an exciting race. The guy the he was in the back, and then kind of the whatever front runners, they kind of were in the back of the pack, and uh, came from came from behind, which is kind of interesting, kind of good. It's fun to see the um, um, kind of the dark horse or whatever pull it out. Okay, maybe I just didn't stir that enough because that was a lot of bourbon right there. Ooh, ah. Um, that was kind of a controversy today. Peter White. Um, Unfortunately, they did have to euthanize. Uh, I think I believe 7 horses in the past week. So that is something that probably they'll have to look at and kind of figure out why that what we played into the conditions of it. It's you never want to see that happen to a you know an animal, um, and you know that goes into. I'm not really going to get into that whole politics of that, but um, it's unfortunate. Um, Zembud says that's his. He was calling it a dark and stormy, but folks were complaining that's a copyrighted rum drink, so we renamed it the Midnight Special. I like it. I like it. Um, let's see here. Peter White says that's worse than the Calgary Stampede Chuck Wagon races. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's an unfortunate thing that happens, and you would think that they could find a way to you know um, save a horse, but sometimes the injuries are so catastrophic that you know they can't even stand, and when they can't stand, then they don't get healthy, and so. Um, but you know, it's it's unfortunate for the horse's health, but I don't know too much about what goes into how they euthanize or do whatever. So I don't really know. So I don't want to really speak to something that I don't know without really kind of looking into it. So, what'd you pick up at Irene's Zambud? Did you meet up with anybody else at Irene's, or is it just you took a drive? Ah, so Whistle Pig Rep is going to be there, but she got the week wrong. It's too bad. Let's see. Ah, so she got to pull out some of the her own Whistle Pig picks. Peter says slim pickings for bourbon and rye these days in Ontario. Well, isn't that yeah? Ontario is pretty bad in general for liquor sales, isn't it? Um, I always hear about like the Ontario market. Zen Bood got her Rough Rider Asian Plum Spice pick for whiskey sours. Not too bad. Not too bad. Yeah, something. Let's see here. A Starlight single barrel Heber cigar batch, finished in Brazilian Ambarana cask. I like a good Ambarana cask. They, to me, I always get like cinnamon roll or like a cinnamon bun, or which plays with the kind of bourbon well. And he got a lock, stock, and barrel vatted rye blend. Really elegant. Very nice. I did hear about the age statement on ECBP being gone. You know, I mean, it does. It's a bummer, but um, with the picks and with supply and demand like it is, probably probably a good Probably there's probably a reason behind why their stock is low in 12. Um, Now that doesn't mean that there won't be some 12 in it. It just means that they're gonna start probably using younger stuff than 12. Uh, it means that they'll be using younger bourbon than 12 years, so they can't technically put the 12-year age statement. Which, I mean, Knob Creek is, you know, using 8, 9, 10-year, 11-year-old stuff. It's still pretty good. Um, Speaking of Knob Creek, they sound like they're going to be increasing their age statement because I know on store picks they were doing, they had kind of backed down. It was like they were doing like some 15-year picks and then they backed down from that down to 12 and then they backed down from 12 down to like 10. So, um, I, so it's good to see at least, Knob Creek has got their, um, uh, stock up again to maybe get more higher statement age statements on store picks than the 9, 10 years that they're getting right now. Zembood says, "How you feeling on the Celtics?" I'll be honest, Zembood, I don't really watch the NBA. I I think they're kind of a flop league, and they're just not enjoyable to watch, and they kind of just there's not a lot of defense, and it's not a fun sport to watch for me when it's just going up and back down the court. So and when they lost, you know, the ability to defend, and because people flop. I, I pretty much was out after that. Um, let's see. Jake, cheers. Welcome. Cheers. Peter White says, here each release will have a unique age statement. The next batch is 11 and a half years. Yeah, I mean, I don't think they're going to go too low. Like, they're not, sure they're taking away the age statement, but they're still going to put what their statement is on the bottle. So, everybody's saying hello, hello, hello. Do I find soccer floppy too? I mean, I've never really enjoyed soccer to begin with, but it's just not a sport I got into. Um, I have friends and family that love soccer and get into the World Cup and they lose their minds, and um, but soccer's not a sport that I will sit and watch. Um, it's just kind of a lot of moving around for nothing, and then like an hour in, somebody will do something, and then nothing for 30 minutes. Peter says, remember when the Red 12 was removed from the EC single barrel? It was run on those pirate bottles. Yeah. Um, NBA is just jacking up 3 pointers. Give me a smash mouth eight. Yeah. Um, I really enjoyed it back in the '90s and even the early 2000s. You could. It was still fun to watch with like Shaq and Kobe. Um, but Jake says as long as they manage the barrel harvest, I'm sure they will still be insane. Some of those 8-year private picks beat the 12-year releases. Yeah. Um, and we got Jake's asking what about rugby. I'll be honest, I don't know if, I don't know when they play or when to watch it. So it's not a very televised sport, so I don't really watch it too much. What I have watched is kind of interesting, um, but I think it's ignorance of not knowing the rules has got me there a little bit. Cheers, Tommy D. How are you? Let's see. I love my rugby. I'm sad U.S. team didn't qualify for the Webb Ellis. See, that was gibberish to me. I have no idea what the Webb Ellis is, so I don't know. Unfortunately, William Hall. Cheers. The old PHC single barrel was only 11 years, and it trounced almost all of the ECBP releases. I don't know what's PHC stand for. Subboot says, my boss said in his college days, he stuck another guy with his shoulder, felt it for a week. Yeah. I mean, rugby's a rough sport. Like you have to be at another level. So, oh yeah, sorry, I didn't know I didn't know the shorten. I don't know why. I like Parker's Heritage. I like what was it, the Heavy Chair of Rye. That was really good. What are you what are you drinking, Tommy D? Jake played rugby in high school. It was on another level. Have to be big and have the best cardio. Yeah. Tommy D is drinking water because the tequila got him. That's why you don't drink tequila. I learned my lesson with tequila. In fact, drinking cocktails even with bourbon right now is probably going to kick butt. I've had a couple of these today, so. Mhm. Uh, William Hall says, so freaking jealous of anyone who has even seen, let alone get their hands on a Parker's Heritage collection. Yeah, they are hard to find, but when you find it, um, I know I know of a few people that have found them in the wild, and that's really kind of how I've gotten mine. It's through other people. Tequila. Tequila got me. Tommy D just relearned it. Yeah. Tequila. Yeah. Maybe that's why they you have tacos with it. I don't know. All that, salty, spicy, fatty foods. Jake coming in with knowledge that the Webb Ellis is a trophy World Cup. Played every 4 years. Matches start in September. Good to know. And the World Cup is this year. Yep. Anybody watch the draft, the NFL draft? That was, last week? It was okay. Packers did Packer things. They never they always seem to need wide receivers and tight ends in the first round, and they get offensive tackle or defensive end, something that we probably have like 10 of, but Somebody says, if you ever see a Total Wine Widow Jane rye pick, grab it. It's 375 mil. It's excellent. Don't have Total Wines around here, but maybe I'll find somebody that knows somebody. I was kind of hoping Mojo would hop in because he sent me a bunch of samples that I'm going to try later. He kind of sent me some hitters. Some Blantons, some Weller Antique, 107. Let's see what else is in here. I can get into the box. What's in the box? What movie is that from? Anybody know? What's in the box? Peter White says, still trying to figure out why Buffalo drafted a tight end when they already have an elite tight end. I know the guy is supposed to be good, but they need pass rush. Yep. Zembud says Pats took a kicker, punter, and center in the middle rounds. Yeah. Powerhouse flex by Bill B. Yeah, I don't know. I think Belichick's probably gonna be retiring here soon. I think he's probably done soon. And Peter White with the winner. The movie was 7. What's in the box? Such a weird movie. Fun though. All right. I'll pull out my samples here. I read them when I first got them, but I haven't read them again. I know kind of what's in there, but we'll find out. Like I said, I already kind of got into the Weller Antique 107. I'll probably start with that because that was the kind of I don't know. Some of these were kind of higher proof, and I didn't know. We've got a, I don't know, I'm going to have him, I'm going to have Mojo kind of decipher this handwriting. I'm not sure on some of these. Uh, he did give me it's a oh, can't read that. Where the damn? It's an 89 Blanton's. It's not a rye. That's the other label. Multiple labels on this. It's an 89 Blanton's. I think this one is Rhetoric 25 year. I want to say this is Hancock's Reserve, but I can't read that. I can't read that handwriting. And then looks like, speaking of each Taylor barrel proof, here's an 8-year age stated West Virginia pick, 133.8 proof. Say that one for last, maybe. Hello. Yeah, I'm. Your guess is as good as mine, Zimbu. It says that 89 Blanton should be on point. Yeah. William Hall says, "Oh shit, he's pulling something out of the box. Not sure if I'm excited or scared." Pretty good. I put the benchmark single barrel against Blanton's last and beat it. Did same with BM single barrel against Wathans tonight. Wathans barely beat the BM single barrel. What's BM? You gotta have to tell me that. I'm bad with the names tonight. Too many cocktails. Take that on out. Peter White says, "I will join you with a Weller 107. Someone easy to get in Ontario when they drop." Well, at least somebody has an easy chance of getting it. I've had to get it from other places. Yeah, Blanton should be on point. Yep. Yeah. Hangdog. Hansdog. Jake says those look like medical bottle tops. That's because they are. Can't really see, but they are. Little child proofing. Benchmark. I'm just an idiot. Benchmark. I got you now. Wow. What's up, JG? Cheers. What are y'all? What are you drinking, JG? Anything? Let's see. Are the lights still going live? Is that what's up with that? Probably still going live, right? Maybe not. No, I guess they're not. Okay. Must have just wrapped. I know they were on when I was on, so no worries. JG just poured some A123 Elijah Craig. Very nice. My avatar pick is of my notebook I keep for another hobby. It does look like an elk, but I think the drawing is a different kind of stag. It's cool. It's a cool picture though. I like it. The likes have wrapped it up. Thanks, JG. Happy birthday to Julie Like out there. Um, I gotta drink. I gotta get rid of this. I need something better. I need something stronger than this. Down the hatch. It was getting kind of watery anyway. That's another reason I don't like um, cocktails. It's like they're just I don't know. They water it down, and I want the full unadulterated bourbon. What's up, Richie Z? Richie Z in the house. Cheers to you. All right, I'm gonna start probably with the remaining of this sample of the Weller Antique. If you haven't had the Weller Antique, I think it's probably my favorite Weller. Um, Granted, I haven't had all of the Weller. Um, right. That's right. Like JG says, smash that like button now. That'd be cool. Um, Gets people to see that I'm live and gives my a little bit more promotion. Appreciate it. All right. Who all in chat has had the Weller Antique 107? Probably most of you. I mean, I know I was pretty early in my whiskey journey when people were like, "You need a Weller," and I'm like, "Okay." What's funny is JG, the only Weller I've ever found was in Iowa, so maybe I just got lucky one day. But I didn't go too far into Iowa. I went to Council, Kentucky. Let's see. I'll go ahead and post the link if anybody wants to come hang out. Um, See if I can't post that and pin the message. There we go. All right. Let's see here. Oh, shit. Gotta turn that off. All right. Turn the YouTubes off so I don't hear it in my ear. Yeah, Council Bluffs. Sorry. When you're from Nebraska, you call it Council Tucky. It's a weird place. It's an interesting city. They think they want to be Omaha, but some interesting folks live in Council Tucky. There is no Cheech live tonight, I don't believe. I'm going in place of Big Vic, so yeah. Yeah, I'm it, man. I'm the show. Yeah. I'm sorry. I apologize for that, but I am the show tonight. Um, I think Big Vic was watching um, watching the boxing Canelo fight, so he wasn't gonna be able to come on, or if he was, it was gonna be late. So JG agrees with my term, Council Techie. Yeah. Hey Mojo, I'm uh I'm getting into your samples tonight. I got into the remainder of the 107. So um yeah, Mojo says the Big Vic has to watch Canelo. That's mandatory. It is his people. So uh, cheers. Thanks Mojo for sending all these samples, and we'll get into some of these. I'm intrigued about the '89 Blantons because I've had some old Blantons and it was not my thing. I think the I'm not the target audience for Blantons. This Weller 107 though, it's pretty good. Either way, Reggie. Um, let's see here. Oh, wrong one. There we go. Enjoy that '89. I hope to. Wow. Holy cow, guys. We're coming to the stream. 5 fingers. High 5 fingers. I feel very blessed to have 5 fingers on our stream. Is this a first? Give me a thumbs up if this is the very first that you've been. Uh-oh. And that was 5 fingers, everybody. That was fun. I've never had 5 fingers on my stream, so. Mojo says it's different, very butterscotchy. Is that the Blantons? Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I'll probably get to that one next because that's probably the lowest. The next, or well, I probably screwed that up by going 107, but um, I didn't know. Oh, we were trying to figure out what that is, Mojo. So if you could help me out. Thought it might be Hancock's, but Peter White says, I think Ryder will be toast against Canelo. Yeah. I don't know. I think Canelo's a good fighter, but Hancock's. That's what I thought. Moses says the 93 proof. At 93 proof, it'll hold up to the 107. Richie Z poured the Maker's BP earlier. It's good. I had a sample of it. Um, I thought it was okay. I mean, it's. I thought it was a little over oaked, but I don't know. All right, JG. Well, thanks for hopping in for a little bit. Appreciate you hanging out. Um, um, it just says cardamom butterscotch and caramel macadamia. Hmm. Yep, Hancock's. Excuse the chicken scratch. No worries. No worries. Just need clarification. I figured out. I think I figured out what the rest of them were. Tell you what though, this 107. Like I've since bought a bottle recently, and for 50, $60, it's pretty good. Um, I think I would skip the green label special reserve, but you know, if that's all you can find, it's a good one too. Um, I don't think I've ever been able to find a 12 year. Yeah, for 50, the Weather Antique is buy all day, buy it up to 70 probably. Yeah, I think I got it for like, well, with shipping it was like 70, but yeah. Boo hiss, boo hiss. Tommy D, come hang out with us. Come on stream, Tommy. Links posted. Peter White says I traded my last Weller Antique for some other bottles of for a Scotch. Good night, Tommy. All right. Just curious, what do you like? What kind of content do you guys want me to start doing? Like, I can do these sample sun, shout outs or whatever, showdowns. If thing about it is, I gotta have samples, so you have to send me samples. But um, I've never really wanted to be a full on just like buy bottle review bottle, but I feel like there are other people in that lane that do that way better than probably I can. Um, but um, I don't know. I think Jason Massendrum does does that. You know, that's his lane. He does that and does that well. And I'm not, you know, not looking for that. I might be looking at doing some prepared content, but I don't know. Um, do you like when we do like the? I've done the Kahoot games. We could do Kahoot games. Um, just takes a minute to kind of get those together, but yeah, okay. I'm glad you like it, Richie. I'm glad you like it. Yeah, it was just maybe I got a weird bottle or sample from a weird sample. Um, Jake wants to know what Scotch Peter White got. Uh, Key to that trade was a Van Winkle rye. The Weller 12 was a throw. Whoa, it had been a hell of a good one. Um, I'm not familiar with that Scotch, but I'm sure. I'm sure if it's 30 years old, it's probably decent price. Hmm. Let's see here. What's up, Mojo?
What's going on, bro?
Not a whole lot, man. Just drinking. Drinking
You
these
hear me
samples you
okay?
sent me. These hitters.
Yeah, I don't think my headphones are working. You still hear me?
Yeah, I hear you, man.
Okay. Yeah, I just figured I'd hop on for a little bit. I just finished that Blanton's I had.
Yeah, that'll be my next pour, I think.
Yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed that Weller. Like it's not really hard for me to get it where I'm from just because Ohio's close to the border, but like now
Yeah.
Ohio's so flooded with people hunting whiskey that like it's kind of ridiculous to even get it.
Yeah, people know about the Ohio thing.
It's just like I think it got popular in, all over in general, and then even like Ohio taters, basically like in PA we get our Blantons that way, and like the guys who are like in the groups and in the trade groups, they're more or less like they use it as trade bait,
Trade
but
bait.
like
Yeah.
in Ohio they kind of caught on. They're like that's what they do with their red Weller there.
Mhm. Yeah, it's kind of it is used for trade bait around here too, and it's like a ridiculously high trade value. Which
Yeah.
Mike, there's no effing way it's worth $300 trade value. Thank you very much.
See, ours is more around like the 120, you know what I mean? Like under
Oh no,
150.
our trade value is stupid.
So like in my world, bro, like like when I went to Vegas last year in September, I hadn't been there for a couple years, obviously. Like I went one time, I think, in Corona, but like it was obviously like I used to go a lot more. Well, anyways, I didn't used to drink bourbon as much, but this time I went out with a couple of my buddies that actually drink and smoke cigars. So I stopped at the airport there, and
hmm
they had like a Weller foolproof store pick for like it might have been like 320 or like a little over 300, and I brought a lot of money there to lose, so I was like, I'm gonna at
Yeah.
least get one good bottle, and I didn't like uh I had an idea I was going to do some hunting, like an inkling, but I didn't get a vehicle. I was more or less on foot for a little bit of the time when
Mm,
I went to the gym. So like I only stopped at maybe two or three different places, and one of them was like pretty close to the hotel. But
yeah.
a few stores I went into, man. Actually, I'll just grab the bottle. But um, ah, the
Jake's
airport I
asking
went
me.
into,
Oh, good.
they had a Red Weller store pick. I paid 250 for it, which I didn't want to do. But I was like, hell, I'm gonna lose more than that. Let me just bite the bullet. At least I know I'll have something good to drink, in the hotel. But I told the story before, but I walked in one store and it was like a museum, and the guy had I'll never forget. He had an Elmer T. Lee for $800 and a Stag Junior for 7.
Hmm.
And normally I would have shuffled my ass straight out the door, but it was like a sight to behold. Just he had a lot of stuff and uh I looked at I
Oh
saw
yeah, the cast
these.
strength version. Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, so I start scanning the shelf and looking back on it, I probably screwed up because like he had like a Knob Creek cast strength for like $70, like the old ones,
Hmm.
and he also had like the sherry and the Madeira and the other ones of those, the full
Yeah.
bottles,
I think the
and
cast
he
strength's
had
probably
minis
better,
of
but
every one of them,
yeah.
and they were all priced at MSRP or like close to it. But I wasn't real familiar with those, but obviously I'm familiar with the 108 and the older cast strength, so
Yeah.
it said $80. I'm like, is that the right price? And he's like, yeah, because there was one left. I was like, yeah, I'll take it. So
Yeah,
looking back, I probably should have grabbed the sherry ones, I guess, and the Madeira. I didn't, at the
the
time I wasn't
108, I
sure.
can still get the 108 fairly easily around my area, but
Yeah, the
um,
108's not real hard to
yeah,
like. There's still some sites and places that get it, and
yeah,
I'll tell you what, I did buy a backup of that when I first got back
yeah,
into bourbon like 2 or 3 years ago. The first two bottles I bought was Old Forester 1897 and
yeah.
the 108 Reserve, and like I mean,
Hmm.
those wouldn't be my strict go-to nowadays, but I'd still drink both of those bottles, no problem. So
Yeah,
can't argue with good MGP, man.
yeah. Uh, to answer Jake's question, he says, "Do I have the four gate split save by Kelvin? This is going to be their regular release. I don't have a bottle. I've had it. I think, like all things four gate, I think if they want to make a regular release, they've got to bump the price down. Because I think it's still like 175 for a regular release, which I mean, spend the $50 more and get Kelvin 5.
Yeah, and I heard that Kelvin Five's a hitter, so
It's good. I actually, weirdly enough, I think I've only had like one pour out of it, but I liked the Amarana cask better.
okay.
I don't know. I don't know if it just needs to air out or what. Kind of.
Like you said earlier about with the BEP or whatever, but I found like with the Calumet 15, I got a bad bottle a couple years ago. A lot of people got bad
Yeah.
Russell's 13s. I think that like with a lot of this ultra premium aged cast stuff and like some of these finished products, I'm not sure how like the bottle production or these barrels get dumped, but I feel like in some instances there's more concentrated tannic or
Yeah.
like yeah like cask material in some of the like bottles that are being poured in some instances. I think that's part of the issue here.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's just one distillery. I think it's like across the industry, like with different expressions and different age.
Well, when you're
Um,
only batching, maybe 5 barrels.
and there you
Like,
go. You know what I
like
mean? So like, think where bourbon came from, where it was like a
you're
bunch
not.
of stuff
Yeah.
blended and watered down to where all the like uh
You're
harsh
not. You're not.
barrels
You're
or
not
like
Jim Beam, who's
sketchy tasting stuff
a
kind of
Jim
gets.
Beam batch. A Jim Beam batch for Booker's is probably around 1,000 barrels.
Yeah.
I
So
mean,
like
that's
they have more room for error. Like, you know what I mean? In
Yeah,
my opinion, there.
I agree.
Like, think of like a wilderness trail per se. You know, like how many barrels are they doing? Like even in their batches, probably a lot less.
Yeah.
Maybe
Richie
not
Z wants
anymore as
to
much
know
because they.
why is there even a need for a trade bait? Um, I mean, if you want a bottle and somebody else wants another bottle,
Yeah, Richie, usually um, so like last year, or actually 2 years ago, some guy needed to complete his set of Blanton's letters, and I'm not the guy to get in between anybody trying to, fulfill their
I mean,
beginning collector, whatever they're trying to do. And he offered me a Remus 5 straight up. I said, "Hey, buddy, do you want some samples?" And like I could tell he was newer, so I offered him some stuff, and he's
yeah.
no. I got three of them, and I'm just looking forward to getting that Blanton's letter. So like,
Hey,
while normally I wouldn't like to take advantage of the guy, I did offer him good samples and tried
yeah.
everything, but that's it to his misfortune that he was willing to trade me a Blanton's letter B for that Remus 5, which still sits in my stash to this day. Um,
Mhm.
that's normally the
But
stuff
I
I
mean,
do, Richie, when I trade. Other than that, I just, I'd rather open it and drink it.
my thing is that um, if I'm able to get a Blanton's, I'm not gonna open it. Like just a regular old Blanton's, I'm not gonna open it. I'm not gonna drink it. So if somebody really wants it,
Yeah, more
they
power
love
to them.
Blanton's or they want it for their collection or their whatever,
Certain
and
face
they
state.
have they have a bottle that I want, and that's they get what
Now,
they want. I get what I want. It's not
no,
nobody
I will say
feels
this
too
that
angry about it.
like in Richie's side of things, in some of my groups, it does get a little redundant when you see guys that like they'll put up a bottle per se, like and some of these guys are more like I don't want to say scumbag, but they're less money hungry than others. Let's just put it that
Yeah,
way. But like you'll see Heaven Hill 20-year corn up for 20 Blantons or 15, and it's like, dude, come on. Like at the end of the day, like I'm not gonna tell you what gray areas to skirt around, but like you're not building a shed out of Blantons, my friend. Like I'm pretty
yeah,
sure we know what you're doing with those. And
yeah,
at the same time, that is where it turns into a bit of a currency because he might turn around and not move all those for bucks, but at the end of the day, it's kind of a scumbag move in a certain instance. But I feel there is a difference between trading for one bottle than like those guys who basically like they're doing predatory trading almost, if that makes
yeah.
sense.
Like if I put up a Blanton's for trade and you offer me a single barrel each Taylor, I'm going to tell you to go F yourself. But like or a small batch, a small batch each Taylor, I'm going to be like, dude, come on now. That's not.
Well, see, some guys will make that trade though, Scott, but like where I'm from, people that value those EHTs around like 80 or 90, and then the Blantons is closer to 100, 120. Now, me, like, it's give or take. I'd rather have the EH Taylor, to be honest, but it is $43. So, like, if you're a money
Yeah.
guy and you're worried about the $20, then you know what I mean? It's like
Yeah, as long as like everybody is, you know, not to get,
happy. Yeah, it's all about what you're willing to trade. It,
if you feel like it's all about if you feel that's a good trade and you're willing to make that trade, then you made a good trade.
yeah. And like,
I
it's a
don't
cool
trade very
discussion because
often.
I'm like one of the guys, and Richie, it's a good question. There's a lot to parlay into, but like I'm one of the guys, and I told this to a lot of my good buddies that I met along the way that like I'm willing to lose in a trade to make the deal happen and get what I want. Like I've done it plenty of
Yeah.
times. I'm not just blowing smoke, but I've also had friends that I've dealt with and lost to, or made those decisions numerous times to where I quit wanting to deal with them. And some of those people being my friends, I told them, hey man, I understand you're more frugal than me. We all have different pockets, this and that, or like different. You have an ego, so you don't want to lose on the deal ever. I get it, right? But
Yeah.
you're gonna miss out on a lot of deals, penny pinching in that way. And like that's something to consider also. You know, I got a lot of relationships because I was a guy
Yeah.
who like kind of let some things slide, if that makes sense. And then people sometimes, you know, the right people, they'll take that into consideration.
Hmm.
And
I also
yeah,
don't
good
do
question
like
though, Richie. I
I
mean,
don't
at least, you know,
you know.
good topic to bring up.
I don't you know I usually don't trade with anybody that like I don't personally have a relationship with,
Yeah.
because like I'm not gonna do like some rando, like, because they usually seem to be the one that like gets hurt, or like, oh, you did that to me, that was a terrible trait. I'm like, I'm not.
It is. There's a lot of drama behind it, and like you know, even like you'll have troll posts, and you know, people that uh like some of those guys who would put up crazy bottles and want 15 or 20 Blantons, and you know, you'd have a bunch of shit posts underneath, like, hey, what are you doing? Don't the house or do you know this and that, and everybody's on different spectrums of how they look at it. Some people don't care. Some people were pissed. The admins get pissed. You know, it's a lot to deal with, Scott. Like I understand exactly what you're saying.
Yeah. Well, and
And
I'm just, like, I've got to think about my channel, and even if it's small, if I make
yeah.
a deal with somebody and then they come back and they're like, blah, 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 and they come on my channel, like, I don't.
Well, I think that like too. I think that's something that people are more into that don't have a network. If that makes sense. Like I'm I have a lot of good guys and friends that I met that are local whiskey bourbon people, but I'm really close to people online too, and I've actually gave more samples out to people that I know online than I have in my whiskey group and stuff, just
Yeah.
because I feel like I converse more with people online for the
Yeah.
most part, except for, you know, there's certain guys that like my buddies, we went to Vegas and stuff. I know them just from that
Yeah.
whiskey group, but for the most part, I feel that a lot of like more or less you could find your tribe of people or like-minded people online just as easy as you can locally through a group. So I think there's something to say about that too.
Hmm.
But yeah,
Yeah. I
I'll tell
mean,
you what, guys. Everybody's going crazy over the 12-year Jack Daniels. I don't know if anybody in the chat had it or you, Scott, or heard anything or seen anything, but
I'm
um,
not. I've never been a Jack Daniels fan. Like, I mean, I've gotten some of the tasters and some of like the limited editions that they've done, and those are good.
yeah, I mean that green
But
Jack Daniels rye is my favorite. I'm sure
yeah,
you guys heard me say
that
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 a few
12 year is
times.
going to be like a annual release, though, right? So it's
Yeah,
going to
but
be
the difference
around.
is, in what I think, Scott, is that I think that what happened was that Fletcher had that slated, or Arnett, I guess, would have been the one to set it up. But I think that what happened with that is that they had that rye maturing a lot more. Um,
Mm,
then when they got the idea to move some of those barrels to Coy Hill to make it more high proof, maybe I could be wrong, but what I think that they did was that initial green rye had more time in the Coy Hill rick houses where it had more maturation time before. I think this new stuff, what they're doing is maybe moving it to Coy Hill. Maybe they're not. Maybe they're just taking like standard Burgundy label and not proofing it down, right? But I think that
yeah.
like because I remember Fletcher and his like assistant, the chick, were on Mash and Drum, and everybody was asking him like, "Hey, bring back the barrel proof rye," and he was like, "It's not going to happen." Like you could tell he was kind of like
Yeah.
put in a corner by it, but like you could tell the wheels were also turning because like I just
Yeah.
told you how you could almost remake that rye, right? If you just don't proof it down, take the 100 proof, don't proof it down, or take some of those 100 proof slated barrels, put them in the Coy Hill Rick houses for a couple months or whatever it would be, then maybe that's another way they could achieve the higher proof. I don't know because I
Yeah.
have heard that some of those the new barrel proofs are like 140, like some of them are hazmat rye.
Yeah. Um,
So
so Richie Z's had the 12 year JD. He says it's good, but don't go chasing it.
yeah, I mean, I'm a Jack Daniels guy, and I wasn't impressed by the 10 very much. So I'm not going to chase the 12. I'd much rather have the rye. I'm a Brown Foreman rye guy. Like I love the Old Forester barrel strength rye too. I think that's the next closest thing to that JD barrel proof rye. But I'm very interested in this new bottle just to gauge
Cheers, Isaiah.
how close or what I think in comparison it is to their heritage.
So apparently the Canelo fight is over because Canelo wins by decision. Did it go? So it went all. Was it 12 rounds? Good.
Yeah,
That's
Canelo
weird.
wins by decision.
Um. So I just cracked open the 89 Bland's. Get
Yeah.
get that
So
party started.
while I'm on, Scott, it's cool because I get to pick your mind. But you said you had some experience with older Blantons. Like, do you remember what year they were? Or
I want to say one was like a 91.
okay,
Um, and then like I've had some of the Polish stuff.
see that's the blue label. Yeah, I've never had
hmm
those.
Um, and then I had the Chateau de la Baude.
Fancy.
That one was good as fuck. Like I like I mean,
Or you mean La Mason? You mean La
Mason.
Mason?
Yeah, that one, the Mason Dooley ski or whatever the fuck. Yeah,
Yeah,
you know what I'm talking about.
yeah.
Man, I'm a cocktail and an ounce and a half pour in.
So if you had the 91, though, the 91 is pretty similar to the 89. Actually, the 91 I had, I like better than the 89, but
Oh yeah.
that was from memory. I'd have to
Um.
put them side by side.
Yeah, I got like I don't know if you remember the Jason Mash and Drum. He had like some Blanton's like
Yeah, I do
dude
remember. Okay,
on.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, you won that blind then. I remember that
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I won like that whole like lineup.
Yeah, Homeboy was on there with the silver empty bottle worth 20K.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I remember. Yeah.
It
I was
was.
like, okay, buddy, yeah, that's a little much out of my league.
Yeah. I mean, it's see Isaiah. Um. Let's see.
Am I
Jake got
froze
the
on your
assistant.
screen?
What's that?
Am I froze on your screen? Because my screen's froze. But
No, you're not frozen on my screen. I can see you.
yeah, I'll just stay on until if my audio cuts or something. I could get off and
Yeah.
jump back, but I
Yeah.
just want to see what you think about the Blantons,
Yeah.
anyways, bro.
I'm gonna let it sit for just a couple minutes though, because it's been in that sample bottle
Yeah,
for a
if you had
while.
91, it's pretty similar. But there's a reason that guy gave you 91. The 91 was rumored to be 16-year-old barrels, right? So,
Oh,
like,
okay.
yeah, in 91, Elmer T. Lee's running it. Well, actually, he quit in, like, like right around 87 or probably right around 89. I don't know. I guess somewhere around that because it was the first ones were made in 84 and then he was out the door pretty much. Um, so technically, if those were 16-year-old barrels, though, um, it was either him that was running the Showdown or actually Albert Blanton himself, right?
Yeah.
So those barrels could be from Colonel Albert Blanton. That's what that's where the allure is.
All right. I'll give you the nose on this is pretty good.
Yeah, the oak and the cardamom on it, and just the butterscotch is just it's there, man. It's not gonna blow your socks off, but it's definitely a good dusty whiskey.
Yeah, I'm definitely getting the kind of caramel
It's
butterscotchy
it's
thing that
it's
you're
almost
telling me.
like a praline butterscotch.
Yeah.
I hate to say it, but like older Blanton's okay for whatever it is. I keep wanting to drink more of it. Newer Blanton's, I care less. Like even like the Hancocks,
Yeah.
the more I
I'm
drink
like
it, it's just tastes young.
I'm gonna be honest. Like if you're hunting Blantons, just go buy yourself an H and H.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's close
Like
enough. I actually think the H&H 10 is closer to Hancock's, but it's all in the same ballpark. I'll say
yeah,
I'll go further and say just buy Eagle Rare.
yeah.
That's what I buy the most of. But you get like a great profile and more of caramel or oak from the Eagle Rare. So like, it's a little more variant, I think. But I like that. I don't know. I think that's a positive amount, and it's half the price for the time being.
Yeah. So Richie wants to know what's your current 2023 favorite bottle you have had this year?
Like standard production or shit that I've obtained.
Um, you can go either way with that. I think what he's trying to ask is like things you've gotten that have released now, but
That's just tough, just to be honest, because I
yeah,
haven't been buying a lot lately.
yeah, me either.
Um,
Um, I
yeah,
haven't
that's
bought a
tough.
lot of new stuff. Like they've been available. Um, but of the new stuff that's came out, I'm gonna say that 4-gate Amberana cask has impressed me. Just depends on if you like, that cinnamon roll, cinnamon bun. To me, it was that cinnamon roll, cinnamon bun type thing, but like
To the
amplified. Like
max.
it was like the difference between going to like a just a Cinnabon and like a French like bakery that makes cinnamon roll. You know what I mean? Like it's amazing. Like the so I that's the one I like before. Yeah, I know Richie. The 4-gate stuff isn't a surprise. I know I'm a 4-gate hack, but hey, if you know what you like, you like. You know.
So I know it's boring, and it's not my favorite, but I'd say the most current bottle that I like the most, but I'm not too impressed by, would have to be the ECBPA 123.
Hmm.
It's not horrible, but it's not my favorite batch. It's not bad though. So, but I
Yeah,
really haven't been buying a lot.
that had So I just tasted this for the first time. That had a almost like a candied berry note on the mid palate that I'm not used
Yeah,
to
it's
with
like a
Blanton's.
almost like a praline butterscotch. I get like a cardamom though. It's like a weird
That could be it
sweetness.
too. Hmm.
I actually got macadamia tonight off of it too, which I typically don't get.
Like a nutty finish in the yeah.
Yeah, almost. It's like in the tannin somehow. It's not like foul at all.
Yeah.
It's like sweet, but then that's the aftertaste. Instead of any type of oak, it's more like a sweet cookie.
Yeah.
So not to flex out on you, Richie, but the most expensive and like best shit I bought all year was I bought two decanters of Old Wild Turkey, which I way paid way too much for, but like it's worth it. I've been drinking the hell out of both of them and trying not to, but one was a 78 101 I've been talking about, and the other one was a 12 year from 1983. But if you know about the Old Wild Turkey game, people pay like $1,000 for those bottles now. So if you could get a
Yeah.
decanter that you know is like gonna be kind of clear and has a good fill level, you could pick those up for like less than 300, around three. For the other ones, closer to 4 or 5, depending on who's giving it to you. Unless you like luck up at a state sale or want, your grandpa's friend or something.
Yeah, but then you can't really be certain of exactly what juice is in it. Like, I mean, or if it's been stored.
That's the problem, Scott. Now there are some people who sell decanted juice like but then you really have to trust the guy you're dealing with, or it has to be a verified seller. I mean, you can kind of look at the juice and know, and like as soon as I could like smell that Blanton's, right, knowing what Blanton's smells and tastes like from that era, it's unmistakable. It'd be too hard to fake it. But
Yeah.
you just can't fake the viscosity, the oak, or the color. But yeah, that's a big issue. Is that a lot of the decanters are well kept, Scott. But yeah, you'll have some bad ones, and you don't want to spend $300 to have a dud because
Hmm.
that's what the hell can you do about that?
I mean, damn. Um, there's a note on this that it's gonna sound weird, but it's the sweet and low, the pink sweetener.
Yeah, like powdered sugar almost. I get that on
Yeah,
it. Yep. Yeah, I was thinking that earlier, like confectionery sugar, but it's almost like fake. Yeah,
but like oh, like just slightly fake.
yeah. That I'll say one thing about that Blanton's. Like I said, it's not going to knock your socks off, but you could keep going back to it and pull different notes. You'll get
Yeah, yeah.
complex notes. You'll get a depth of flavor from it that you will not find in new Blanton's.
I mean, I'm definitely getting something different every time I taste it. So that does add to the complexity.
That's
I'll
why
give
I
you that.
love dusty
Yeah,
shit, man. That's it for me. You know,
yeah. Dusty Beam for me does that. Like Old
Dusty
Beam.
Beam definitely. It could go either way. Though I've had some Dusty Beams that weren't very enjoyable, but then
Hmm.
again, like some of them are really good.
Yeah.
And 86 always tends to be a little better. Like the 80 proofers, some of them are good, but most of them are a little more watery.
And this is 93 proof, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Hmm. I'll tell you, I'm enjoying this. I'm not.
Yeah,
I'm
I'm glad you are, Scott, and it's different. I just wanted to
mhm.
hit you with something. Obviously, if you wouldn't have won that blind fight from that guy, it's kind of hard to wrangle a 1991 or like an older Blanton's unless you're willing to pay a couple $100 to get it,
Oh yeah.
regardless.
Hmm. Well, and I was a little bit younger in my journey, my whiskey journey, so I maybe not was not able to. I don't know.
It's always good to get to revisit something that's
Yeah.
rare, Like it's not every
Hmm.
day you're gonna get to try. And you go to a bar, imagine what you'd pay in a bar. Like,
Oh yeah. I mean, I've been places where I mean they've had like OGD, 114, you know, 80, 86, 89, and the stupid prices they want for that. I'm like,
yeah, a couple
I'm not
hundred for a
like
pour.
I'm not paying $200 for a 2 ounce pour.
Yeah, I
Like,
think I seen that same list you're talking about. They had like old fits on there that was
yeah,
150 and 300. Yeah,
yeah.
I
I'm not.
get it. It's cool to try rare stuff, but for all that, just go to Covington and go to Revival, and you could get quarter pours for a quarter of the price just to try.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, the more and more I drink Dusty whiskey, I fall in love with it.
Hmm. Richie Z loves old wild turkey that he's tried courtesy of Dusty Dan. Yeah. I mean, old turkey is great. I,
Yeah,
you know.
that's what I'm drinking right here. This is the
Mhm.
78 I poured, and man, at first it was a little minerally, but as it aired out and opened up, it's a lot. It's just fruit now. It's just fruit and classic Dusty turkey, cinnamony oak,
Yeah.
but it's super berry forward.
There you go.
Yeah, the other one I'm kind of interested in, Scott, because Hancock's is like that's just an okay Hancock's. I've had ones that are just like
Yeah.
more Buffalo Tracy, which that one is, and I've had ones that are like spicy pear and apple.
Okay.
That one's a little more on the lines of just a normal buff Trace. You might get a hint at pear out of it, but nothing major. But I'm interested too in what you think about that rhetoric because like as much as people make a big deal out of some of those, that rhetoric 25,
Yeah.
um, you wouldn't offend me if after you try some if you add some of the Hancocks or like Blantons you have to it,
Hmm. Yeah.
it'll make your whiskey more oak, but to drink that stuff alone, it's like on the lines of splinters. So like if there's a gag gift at all in there, that's it. I mean, it's not like it's horrible whiskey. It's just really oak forward.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I sent one to Ben and one other person, but like I had a 2024 and 25, and the 25 is the only one I got left because it's good. It's just like you can't sit down and drink a lot of it.
Really.
Be good for blends.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah, I didn't pay a lot for them.
Mm-hmm.
One of my buddies who I told you, like I met a lot of guys through trading and here and there. He has a good relationship with a guy from Japan, and he had got them over there, tried them and didn't like them, sent them to him, and he wanted like 120 for each of them or something.
Mm-hmm.
And they were missing like a pour out of each of them, 20, 24, and 25. So I said, I'll take them. The 20 and 24 were really good, actually. I mean, the one tasted kind of like Stitzelweller, so I could bite the bullet on the 25.
Yeah.
Can't all be winners, you know? But yeah, what like we kind of dwelled into, but like, what Richie, what are you looking forward to getting this year? Like Scott, what do you? Is there anything you guys are looking forward to? I talked your ear off about that Jack Daniels,
Mm-hmm.
the new barrel proof rye. That's the one I kind of want. The 12, not as much,
I
but
mean, I don't know. Like, I hate to say it, but I'm kind of bored.
yeah,
Like I'm like, okay.
I hate to say it, Scott, but that's kind of why I got into Dusty's, man. Like at the beginning,
Right.
like maybe like a year, 2 years ago now. That's like when it was like a year and a half, 2 years into it, and I was like, this is kind of getting a little. There's just a
Just
lot
whack.
of run of the mill bottles and a lot of overpriced bottles, and then there's now all the finishes are coming out, so it gets overwhelming to where like I started pulling back resources and just going out and buying those Dusties or buying uh
Yeah, for
bottles
sure.
I know that I want, even if I had to pay closer to secondary. It's just like after a while you kind of have to pick a side, like. But I get what you're saying, Scott. I think that's why a lot of guys are going to Scotch and doing different things.
What are you drinking? Whack. You got probably have something great in your glass
Yeah,
right
bless
now.
up, Whack. Whack and
Yeah,
Durrell
I
have
mean,
some shit, man.
if ever there was a time that I was gonna hunt something BTAC, this would be the time. Like I'm
Yeah,
at that point. Like I'm like,
yeah. Well, it doesn't help that the 22 GTS and WLW are supposed to be so good. Well, actually, I tried the WLW. It's really good. I wouldn't pay
yeah,
$1,500 for it though.
no, I'm not. I mean,
It does taste like vanilla cherry Coke in a glass though, and it's like there's no ethanol whatsoever. It's just all flavor. It's really good.
yeah.
Yeah, I
What you
didn't get to
see,
try the George T.
what
Stagg,
you
but
see as I just want this year's William Lou Reller. Probably
yeah,
not likely, but uh, also try new distilleries like Buzzards Reese,
yeah.
other little
It's
ones.
funny he
Yeah,
said that, and that's what the kid who let me drink out of his bottle at my buddy's house was his neighbor by happenstance. He won the lottery, which is the only reason I got to try it. So
yeah,
yeah, I mean I could go out and buy one, but I wouldn't, to be honest. It's just it's not
yeah.
worth it.
It's Jake says it's the bourbon burnout switch to some other whiskeys for a bit. I've thought about it. I mean, I I've thought about going to Scotch, but the problem is Scotch is so like to me inflated prices.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's bougie too. It's kind of bougie,
yeah.
man. Like
And like I don't really know where to go. Like I would be like starting afresh. Like I would be like
Octomore.
huh?
Octomore was like
Yeah,
some of the better Scotch I've tried in like my
yeah,
short Scotch journey.
yeah. And the funny thing about that is, I have a friend that's like he only drinks Scotch. I only drink bourbon, so we have to like bring our own shit to like his house and my house, you know. And he was like, "I just want you to try a Scotch. I think you'll really like it." And like he was trying to be like tongue in cheek, trying to play a joke on me, and he gave me Octomore 8.3,
Uh
and
yeah,
then I
that's the
drank it,
most PD one there is.
and
Like
then I
it's
drank it, and I said, "This is the best thing I've ever had. Like, can I get another bottle?"
huh.
And he was like, "No,
No,
you
yeah.
cannot get another
That's
bottle. This is gone." Like,
yeah, that's one
I'm
that
like,
like
"Damn it."
everybody hoarded and they want way
Yeah,
more for whatever reason. Now
yeah.
it's weird, but I like the 10.3 I tried. Okay, and those
Hmm.
point numbers mean like whatever if it's finished in virgin or whatever, you know, all the different bullshit. But I love the 10.3. It was like like a smoked pineapple-y barbecue, you know, real viscous, good heavy
Yeah,
peat, but not no iodine or medicinal notes.
yeah, for sure.
Well, so I'm like, okay, now I'm warmed up to drinking scotch. This is awesome. They're like, here, try this 11.1, which like Donald Rance, or maybe it wasn't Rance, but a bunch of guys were raving over one night. Man, I'll tell you what, if that shit didn't taste like the Black Plague, like I felt like I walked into a hospital and just licked the floor mop. It tasted like Band-Aids and
Hmm.
iodine and sea moss and just all the most just
Yeah.
non whiskey notes. Like I don't even understand how that's considered whiskey. It tasted like an apothecaric remedy
Yeah,
of
I
some
get you.
sort. Like Buckley's would taste like Buckley's cough syrup almost.
Yeah.
It's like I don't know, man. I don't know what I'm missing in my palate or if that's just something you get over with time, but I don't even I couldn't even fathom how the one was so different from the
What's up,
other. But
Darrell? How you
like
doing, bro?
that's the roulette wheel you know you deal with when you deal with scotch, I guess. You know,
Yeah, for sure.
yeah. I what
Um,
it, I'm sorry to cut you off, but it's a
oh, go
little
ahead.
ironic that he gave you the 8.3, that being the highest ppm, you know,
Oh, he
Pete,
was trying to fuck with
and
me.
you liked it. I don't know.
He was definitely trying to fuck with me. But
Yeah, for sure.
like, um, but I mean, in a way that was good because now I know that I like peated scotch. So that
Now,
narrows it
did you
down.
get like a smoky barbecuey note off that? I'm just curious because I don't have a big experience with them, but you're saying that was a point 0.3 and the one I like was a 10.3. So it's like,
I think I want to say that point threes are also like aged or like finished
mm-hmm.
too. I'm not sure what it was finished in, but I definitely know that like um, after that I was like I'm buying a Lagavulin 16. I'm buying a like Port Charlotte 10.
Yeah,
Those,
some certain just the standard bogger shit.
which
Yeah. What
just to have like, do I like this? Like, are these things that I like at reasonable prices before I'm like saying, do I want to buy
jumping
a
in the deep
do I
end?
want to
Yeah.
buy a
It's
$200 scotch? I earlier in the year I was lucky enough to get a membership gifted to me to the Scotch Malt Whiskey Society, which is
that's
cool,
legit.
but I look at all their prices and I go, I don't think I'm here yet. Like,
Yeah.
you
Four
know,
gates not looking so
I
expensive, huh?
was like, oh shit! Like, we're talking like this is real people money here. Like,
Uh,
oh yeah,
yeah. I
I
mean,
I mean, especially for something that I don't know what it is. Like, I mean, I know what it is, but I don't know what it is. Like, I don't know.
seeing like you said, kind of Scott, like you're getting bored, right? In a way, I'm getting bored too. But like, I think it's more so I'm at the point where I know what I like and what I don't like now. So like,
Yeah.
yeah, I could keep overextending myself and trying this, trying that bullshit finish or this or that. But like
Hmm.
four gates in your wheelhouse. So if you have to spend the 250, like you said, to get something you enjoy over even something from them that you don't like as much, you're now willing to do it. Whereas like, certain guys, they're like, holy shit, you spent 250 on a bottle. But me, in the back of my mind, 4 years into this, I'm like, well, if you bought five makers
Right.
picks you didn't like, or other,
Hmm.
you add them up and there's your,
Yeah.
four
It's
gate.
like
It's
over a month, I can buy one bottle of Four-Gate, enjoy it over the month, or I can buy, you know, five picks from, and maybe like them, maybe not. They're not the, end up sampling out half of them. Like I,
Yeah. Well, and
so
then, and then you get into like the slippage of value in the whiskey game, like in general. So like however many years ago Elijah Craig small batch was 12-year age stated, that's now a thing of the
yeah,
past. Like so,
yeah.
and all things
See,
considered,
I also think that the bourbon age statements are going to come back. They,
eventually, yes, I agree.
yeah, I like. Well, you can see with Knob Creek, the store picks. What was that? 2, 3 years ago, they took them down
15, yeah.
from 15 years down to nine. Eventually down to nine. And now they're getting back up into 12, 11, 12 years. I
Yeah,
mean,
well, and that's a testament to how large Beam is, probably too. And
yeah,
like who else could do that? Heaven Hill, maybe. Certain distilleries can get away with it.
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Elijah Craig ECBP is still 12 years, thank Lord. It used to be 16 when it was Pirate. That was the rumor, was it was mostly
Yeah,
16.
there was some 16-year in it. Yeah.
And if you've ever tried it, you could, there's I could see how people would say that.
I'm not too mad at like Elijah Craig dropping the 12-year. I mean,
I, I, I I'm not going to say that I'm mad, but I think that they could still afford to do it and they're not doing it. So that would mean that they're putting in younger whiskey, and it's for
yeah.
profit. Because like I always tell people this, I used to go back and watch all the master distiller interviews, and this was when Parker Beam was still alive, and he just offhand he was like,
Hmm.
"We have 4 million barrels on hand." So this was like,
Yeah.
you know, like I tried to
four
wrap my
million,
head around that, like four
four
million
million,
fifty
200
five
bottles per
gallon
bill
barrels of whiskey.
yeah.
Jesus, like
You're talking
holy
about
shit,
12
dude! Like,
million bottles.
and this was like, they might have increased production by 25%, or
Yeah.
you know what I mean. So like, just
Right.
that blew my mind for him to say that, and like I've heard rumors of them going up to like there was mismanaged Evan Williams 23 and they went and opened cask and they were like dried up basically, like that's
Yeah, yeah, for
happened.
sure.
So, you know,
Yeah, I mean, I think if the larger producers like Heaven Hill with Elijah Craig and like
Beam.
Jim Beam and like I think if they do it responsibly, where like they take a couple of years, they take the age statement off, and then they like maybe they're not putting in 10, 12, 15 years stuff. They're putting in 9, 10, 11 years stuff.
Well, it's funny you say that because look at the age of the Elijah Craig single barrels they released. So like that adds credence to your argument.
Yep.
Eight,
Cheers,
8 to 12
David.
years. That's what they are,
Yeah.
or
So
eight
I
to
mean,
11,
I
really.
think they can recover from that by just it's long. Like I would rather have an 11-year bourbon, 11-year Elijah Craig, than over a longer period of time
Absolutely.
than absolutely keeping that 12-year statement.
Yeah,
Like
I agree with that,
if it
and I
means
think that was
yeah,
like their compromise. They released those to appease a certain audience.
yeah,
And
like if it
it kind of makes me think like logically, if I'm uh, the marketing director at Russell's, I released Wild Turkey 12 to America. That's my next move. Like,
yeah.
101 age stated, so they could water it down a little. But like, man, that stuff to to go back to Richie, it was last year. Whenever I was buying them all, but that was my favorite bottle of recently that I bought the most of, is the Wild Turkey
Mhm.
12 Japanese. Um, I hope and pray it comes to America.
Yeah, for sure.
I would drink that every day if I could. But I'm just as happy drinking early times. I wish I had the Brown Foreman, but it is what it is.
Yeah, see, that's another one that's not available in our market. Like early times, we can get the BS 80 proof, but we can't get the you know
Yeah.
good
Um,
stuff or
I
better
forget
stuff.
where I got this. Ohio gets it now. I forget where I got this one. I think I just
Yeah,
got it off one of my buddies. I got this in the old Baker's 7 year, just because I never had one. I'm not a huge
I,
Beam guy, but I hear those are okay. It's from like 2018, I think.
Richie Z says you have the best beard in whiskey tube.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate that. I've been called Rasputin a few times.
But yeah, I mean, I think bigger companies like Beam and Heaven Hill and Makers, they've got to they have to make you know.
Makers should really come out with an age stated. Like
Well,
Fred Minnick been saying that for years now. Oh, I want a
I don't know if
12-year
you know
cash
this.
strength.
I don't know if you know this, but they are coming out with a 11, 12 year.
Makers is? Yeah, I didn't.
Mm,
So there you go. And I mean, at the
yeah.
end of the day, look what Jack Daniels is doing. They're doing
Now,
the 10, 12, supposed to be 15 and 18. So
I will say that is a bottle that I'm hunting. I want the makers that's 11, 12 year. It's a
yeah,
blend of 11 and 12 year.
I'd be
It's
interested to try that. And I'm not a huge weeder guy, right? I do like old
yeah.
OWA and certain weeders, but I think that Makers at 11 and 12 years would be very interesting.
Yep.
I've told people this a lot before too. That Bill Samuel Senior, one of his good friends was Pappy, Pappy Van Winkle, and he's the one who gave him his mash bill
Yeah.
idea and gave him his yeast and everything. So I'm
I
not going to sit here and
yeah.
say that it's anything close to Stitzel Weller, but
Yeah.
they have the pedigree there.
I think it's a little concerning that um, both the master distiller and of what was her name? What was her title? Master distiller, and master of maturation. I think I
Yeah,
don't know. It was some weird ass fucking title. That they were both they left at the same time. I think I I'm obviously more of a like I thought about makers more than most people. Um, it's not so much that I love makers more. I just it's more available here, so I get it. Get more access to it. Um, they makers likes to do makers things, and it's all about the family. And if it's outside of their tradition, they won't probably do it often. So that's why I was actually really shocked by the 11, 12 year. I thought that was going to be a thing that they would die on a hill for.
yeah. Well, I
That they
think that
wouldn't.
at the end of the day, Scott, when they see all these other companies grabbing up market share, so Wild Turkey just put out the Japanese 12, Jack Daniels just put out a 12-year. Knob Creek has a 12-year. All these companies have 12-year. They start looking at each other. Elijah Craig, 12-year age stated. Makers doesn't have that. So, like,
Yeah.
if you want to be a staple in the premium, the BEPs and license plate whiskeys ain't going to cut it forever. They got to
Yeah.
start, being more than a one-trick pony here.
Hmm. Um, Richie Z's asking if we got the Bardstown Origin Series bottles yet. I did. I really enjoyed the weeded, the black label.
Hmm
I thought that was really good. Um, I think I'm glad that they chose a price point that's
$50.
50, $50.
Yeah,
Like
it's
that's
fair.
becoming the budget bottle now, which is kind of crazy in my opinion, but like like
50 is the new 30, right?
yeah, I'm like this is getting kind of an expensive hobby. Like
To supply and
When,
demand.
yeah,
I always tell people I dread the day that they're gonna look around and say, "Hey, we could charge 50 for Eagle Rare," like, because hey, it's 10. Look,
uh,
McKenna 10 years, 50, $60 now.
it's not that, well, it's not
I
that
quit
far
buying
off
it.
because for me to get an Eagle Rare, I think I would have to pay like 70, and that's
Even
just off the
store
shelf.
picks.
Off the
Yeah,
shelf.
yeah. Even store picks are. I'm on the line for 70. It has to be good.
Yeah,
It's
I had,
double, you know.
yeah, I got as a gift, um, an Eagle Rare pick that, you remember that old school Big League Chew gum, that
Yeah,
grape.
already knew what you're gonna say. Grape, yeah.
It's that Big League Chew grape
Yeah.
gum
Some of
all
them,
day.
man, like if
I
you
was
like
just
grape,
like,
it's right up your alley. I had
Jesus,
one that was like a grape cola.
yeah,
Like it wasn't
yeah. It's
didn't have
like
that sweetness, but it had like a like almost not a tart. It was like a full grape flavor. It didn't have no like bubble gummy or softness to it. It was just a straight grape, and then it was like a cola and an oak tannin, and that was it. But I really enjoyed that one. That was one I took to camp, and that was a standard label. But I took it to the mountains with me, and I drank the whole bottle in 2 nights by myself, basically. You know,
yeah, yeah. Jake
just
saying
very
that the Henry
crushable.
McKenna is $70 in his area.
Yeah,
That's
that's what I was saying, man. It's
it's
up to
one.
62,
Yeah.
65. I've seen it, and it's sad because like the last one I had was from 2016.
Yep. I think I had a 2017 bottle. It might have been a 2020 bottle,
Yeah,
but like, I think my limit on Henry McKenna 10 was $50. I was not
yeah.
going over
It's just
50. I was.
honestly, I'd rather have the origins, like for how readily available it is.
Mhm.
So like that's another thing to discuss, Scott. How many of these um mass-produced bottles that are coming out or for $50 aren't a miss? Like some of them got to be a hit just by laws of chance, right? Like
Well, I
laws of
mean,
averages.
I used it in a cocktail, but Cooper's Craft 100.
Oh yeah. Well, that Cooper's Craft, that's
Like that's 30
that's good
bucks,
stuff.
$35.
If you can't get the early times bottled and bond, Cooper's Craft is the next best thing.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you one thing that I'll always have. Not everybody agrees, but I will always have the rye and the bourbon.
Okay. Yeah.
Just so you know, you can't always be a baller. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I may have Foregate, but like, there's a reason that those bottles are mostly open, are mostly filled.
Absolutely. I mean,
Like, I mean, I
dude,
don't drink those like on a random fucking Tuesday night. Like,
as
I'm
much
drinking
as I'd
those.
love to pound 89 Blantons in 78, there's
Yeah,
a reason I
yeah,
have to drink
yeah.
lower
Yeah.
stuff just
I'm
because, like,
just,
I know what I want to drink, you know?
I'm
Like,
drinking,
when I open a Wild Turkey 12 Japanese, it doesn't last very long because
uh,
that's what I go back to. I mean,
like,
but
I like the like what's his name, Freddie Johnson from Buffalo Trace. He's like, it doesn't matter what's in the glass. It's who you drink it with. Like it's the experience. It's the you know what I mean. Like,
very true.
or if even if it is a great bottle, like why are you closing the bottle? Like let's just sit here and enjoy this. Like this is what it is.
I'll say this, that even like with the Dusties, I'd love to hoard it, right? As much as I love drinking it, I want you to try it too. You see what I mean? Like that's what it's all
Mhm.
about to me. It's like our Pittsburgh, our group is their group slogan is whiskey's better with friends. It's that simple.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna get a little bit into the cash strength and I'm gonna head off. Just figured I'd come on for a little bit and bullshit
Yeah, I
you about
appreciate it,
these
Mojo, and I
samples.
appreciate the samples.
Oh,
I probably
absolutely,
won't be
bro.
on too much longer, but um,
Yeah, it was good talking to you guys, seeing you guys, Richie Z in the chat, and everybody else. Hit the like too if you haven't. You know, if
We
you
even
might have
had
forgot to.
we had a five fingers who came on chat. Like
Yeah, I
that.
seen he
Like that,
yeah, he was like, well, his was like a mitten glove, but
yeah,
he kind of did one of these.
I like
He's
it.
like,
Well, Michael Jackson, you know.
yeah,
Bye.
that's my golfing glove.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah,
Oh,
you never
man.
know when you're gonna have to birdie, you know, or shoot an eagle on these mother effers.
Yeah. Oh man.
Oh
Richie Z
boy.
says McKenna 10 is good, but don't spend $70 unless you love it. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
that's
even if
rough.
I loved it, I don't think I would spend $70 on it. I just I can't.
Ancient
Well,
Age 10. Ancient Age 10. You said it earlier, bro.
yeah.
You
When
know
I
I'm a
lived in
Buffalo
a
Trace
world
fanboy. It's not my
like
favorite expression, but for the money, it's eh,
when I lived in a world when McKenna 10 was sat on the fucking shelves for $30, I can't say $70.
Scott. I tell people all the time. I remember looking back clearly and buying Crown XR for 140 bucks and saying, "What is this stag antler bullshit?" You know,
Uh-huh.
and,
Oh, I
like
know. I remember being in a store and the guy's like, "You need to buy this bottle." And I was like, "Yeah, but it's like $100. What am I doing? Like that's stupid." Like he's like, "Yeah, but it's Stag 3." I'm like, like what the fuck was I thinking? Like,
it's only worth 800 plus now.
yeah, like, yeah.
Yeah, man. I honestly like I crack up
God,
because even my couple of my good buddies, the one I said that's real frugal, maybe 2 years ago, just when Stag started jumping,
yeah,
you could still go to New York and find them on a shelf for 140, 180. I would pass, right? But 120, 140, 160 some stores, but 120 I'm buying. You know, New York tax you're still paying. But like 120 was the max for a lot of people. And I told them like
yeah,
I don't know like how you see this trend going, but like Stag's only gonna go up, bro, and it's batch. Like, no, I would never pay 200. I would never pay more than 120. I'm like, okay, so like eventually I bought one off him for 200.
hmm,
And you know, even like a few weeks ago, he was telling me he's like, man, I never thought people would want $300 for a Stag Junior, 350 for some of these batches, and I'm like, bro, I told
yeah,
you,
for
like,
sure.
hey, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, you can't cry over spilled bourbon, that's for
No,
sure.
not drink Stag Junior. I guess if I'm not willing to pay for it.
Yeah, the worst part is that I have some, and now I don't want to drink them because, like, you know, good luck getting, you know, the last one I got, I
Mhm.
think I traded a Magnus cigar blend for that I didn't like as much, but
Yeah, I think I got. But like you were talking about, I I think I paid 150 for a Stag 17.
yeah, I could
That
live
was the
with that
last
though.
bottle I bought.
Yeah, I could live with that. You know, when those first came out, people were paying like 350, 300 for them.
Yeah,
And
I
I
don't
will
think I
say to
would.
anybody who's tried the 17 and the 12, I think that the 17 is the closest to the 12 that they put out in a long time. Like it's like very balanced and
Is
drinkable.
it? Yeah, mhm. I
I'm
liked
not a
it. It was
huge
good.
fan of the 12. I'm a 15 guy. Like I like the fruit forward, but
Mm, yeah,
I think
it
that
was good.
17
I
is pretty
liked it.
close. But yeah, Scott, it was good talking to you. I'm gonna get off and
All right, man. I appreciate you coming in.
yeah, my brother, always a good time. I'm glad you enjoyed the samples. I'll sure I'll get you more
Yeah,
eventually here.
there's quite a few more samples here. I'll get into over time, but
Yeah, for sure. I'm just glad to get you something. I like coming on and bullshitting with you, my brother, and
yeah,
appreciate you being in the community.
appreciate you too, man.
Good night, everybody.
Good night. All right, y'all. Let's see here. I haven't. Sorry, I really wasn't paying attention to the chat too much, but uh, Cheers. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not one to pay like stupid over retail. I'm not like I've never really been the type to hunt. Um I don't it's not my thing. I don't like doing that kind of thing. So, all right, Richie, you almost out. I appreciate you coming in. Thanks for all your help. Thanks for always being there. So yeah, I just don't. I'm not. I'm not gonna hunt things. Like I don't hunt Blantons. I don't hunt. I don't even hunt really E.H. Taylor. Like if I see it, I see it. If I don't, I don't. Um, I feel like there are a lot of other things out there that are more interesting. So, um, check those out. Um, yeah, I will say though that if I was to pick like one thing that I'm very interested in getting, um, whenever it comes out, it would be that Maker's um, aged like 11, 12 year blend. Um, yeah. I um I don't have anything in my glass. That's a problem. All right. I'm gonna save some of those samples because I don't know if I'm gonna go too hard tonight. I'm pretty much. It's been a long day, long week. So Jake says I already got some insane bottles this year. I need to take a break and just do some shelf comparisons. Now, if a bottle comes up that I'm truly interested, yeah, I'll throw down for it. Yeah, I mean, that's got stuff in it. Clean glass. Okay. Just gonna do Old Forester, 1910. I mean, yeah. Thanks, Mojo. Yeah, it'll the aged makers will be good. I think it'll be different. It'll be something that we haven't seen in a while. Um, Probably the only thing that I've heard that they've released for a while was the DNA series, and I think that was only aged to like 9 years, 8, 9 years. I think 8 years, 4 months maybe. So you're not talking about super ultra aged there either. But 11, 12 years, you're getting some oak influence. Um, I would like to see that. Uh, I don't know. But I'm probably going to wrap it up here in a little bit. It's getting to be the top of the hour. Appreciate every single one of you for hanging out with me tonight. I hope you can join me again next week. I'll be back on my normal date on Friday night. Hope so. Put a pin in that. We'll see. I hope so. I'm gonna try and be on uh, my normal date and time. Um, but I I really appreciate every single one of you. And thanks for all the support you give and just being here, and appreciate, people like Mojo who hops in and, sends me samples, and so I can have, something to talk to you about. And, it's good to have friends like that in whiskey. So appreciate everyone. Thanks, Richie. Thanks, everybody. Cheers.